What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Nerdy Dating. I'm your host, Zakka, and what is Nerdy Dating? It's a dating podcast brought to you by a nerd, talking about dating, relationships, just giving advice, reacting to TikToks, reacting to YouTube videos, reacting to Am I the Jerk on Reddit. And today I have a special guest, a very special guest, a very lovely special guest. It is my girlfriend, Maggie. She's on this time, and you know what? Do you want to give a little backstory on how we met? Because, real quick before you hop into the actual topic.
Sure.
So we met on Hinge, and like I said, I've been, in my early 20s on up. I've been pretty much single, dating here and there, but really single. And then I met her, and probably one of the best things that happened to me. She's just super special.
Oh, that's sweet.
Any thoughts on that? You're welcome. But
You're very special to me too.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yeah, it was really. I think I was just lucky to get to meet you and to know you after just moving here. Yeah, so I mean, just like a whole new experience. I'm kind of new to online dating. Was very new to online dating. It's the first time I've ever done it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I just lucked out. I don't know how often that happens to people, but I feel pretty lucky.
Heck, I got lucky because I've been on dating apps at least since 2013 and 12. I was on it for almost a decade, so I got lucky, and glad to hear the same for you. But all right, let's go talk about our topic, because speaking of dating, because the approach, that's one of the things on the dating apps. I end up opening, you swipe on me, but I end up opening up the question that led to our conversation, to our first date, the approach. Who should do the approaching, or do you feel like who should approach more in today's age? I still think it falls into the guy's ball play to do the approaching and make themselves known. But how do you feel about that?
Are we talking specifically to online dating, or is just kind of in general to everyone? In
general to everyone.
Okay. I feel like online dating, I'll kind of start there. It's a little different because for some of the, the apps like Bumble, girls have to make the first move.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you're just hey, and you may never get a response back. And some people's profiles are just if you say hey or hi to me, I'm not going to respond.
It's so annoying. It's annoying. Or
just a GIF. How am I supposed to respond to that?
That's annoying too.
But as a girl, you're just what am I supposed to say? But I completely understand, as a guy, you have the exact same challenge every day, right? So it's also challenging, but I feel as a girl, I'm just kind of well, I don't know what to say. You're supposed to kind of lead the conversation. I'm just opening the gate so that you can talk to me, Bumble-wise, right?
Okay.
Hinge, I feel it's a little different. You have a 50-50. Anyone can start the conversation once you guys match, so that's kind of fair game. I feel most of the time it is the guy because they're just maybe more used to it, or maybe it's I don't know, maybe it is the girl. Less times than more.
I'll think about my own experience there.
But as I feel approaching people in person is a little different. Then I will say I think that I have I'm gonna take a unique perspective on this. I feel if a woman is approached in person, they have a tendency to feel a little bit kind of weird about it. Especially if they're in a group setting.
Group setting.
However, they go out with the intent to want to be approached.
Okay.
You go out trying to look good, trying to look hot, trying to look like you're hot girl summer, and then you go out, and then if a guy comes up to you, you're oh no, I'm good. I'm with my girls. But at the same time, we're going out to try to meet somebody.
Okay, let's hold on. I'm gonna dive into that.
Okay.
So let's table that one real quick, and let's go back to the online world before we go back into for those who well, I don't want to get on a dating app. So let's about those on the dating apps right now, and then we'll go back to, because that's interesting. All right. So the online approach, right? So let's do Tinder and Hinge, which the guy usually doing the approaching first. To me, I think the best way to approach for a guy's perspective is talk about something on the dating app itself, what's on her profile. Don't talk about hey beautiful. Don't open up with that, because you're gonna be one of probably 40 to 50 other dudes who are also swiping on this lady. So do not open up with just hey beautiful, how you doing? Open up with something on her profile. There's something, she put this on her profile for a reason. Speak to that. If you're oh, you see that she likes Netflix, Speak to her. I think it's binge watching was the thing. Like binge watching. Speak to that. You see that she's from Florida. Like, oh, you know, I've never been to Florida. How is it? Like, you can speak to her profile and continue that conversation. How about you? How do you think a guy should approach on the dating app?
Definitely, I think that using something that has been like kind of prompted on a dating app already is preferable, only because it makes, as a woman, you're like, okay, you've at least done some type of like, you know, looking at my profile and not just simply looking at my photos to know that, hey, like, I either do or don't want to talk to you. But at the same time, I feel like you do get a lot of like mixed kind of things coming to you as a female. You get like, oh, hey, you know, you look amazing in this photo, or like, hey, you know, you look like a good time, or anything like that. So yeah, it can get kind of cringy, which is not very fun. But I think that, yeah, incorporating things that are like given to you as prompts is a more efficient way to get to know somebody, if your intent is to fully like actually get to know them and try to hang out with them. At least, you know, it'll get you a little bit further than, hey, you look great in that low cut shirt, or something wild like that, you know? I don't know. Right.
Get to attention. Like, so what would you say stands out like on you? Like, you're like, okay, I have 100 dudes liking me. What was like, okay, this stood out more. What would stand out to you more if a guy reached out to you versus just like the hey, or...
Can I be super honest?
Yeah.
I feel like for mine, I feel like I got a lot of weird people making like weird comments. So like if you don't make a weird comment, you're immediately advanced into like the next level.
Hear that, guys?
Don't make a weird comment. Don't comment on someone's lips. Don't comment on someone's gym photo. I mean, you can, that's why it's there. But like, don't comment on like something just not that
physical.
Yeah. Like something you wouldn't say in front of someone else's like mom. Would be like that's like kind of like super PG.
No, that's good.
But I mean, it kind of definitely like immediately sets you aside from like someone who's very clearly trying to be like only physical versus someone who's genuinely interested in like having a conversation, which I feel like I could totally tell with you. It's like you are not directly being like, hey, you know, like something weird and physically.
Do you remember my first message to you?
Yes.
It was what's something you knew you want to do this year you haven't done before. Like,
and I think that honestly just like it really started off a whole entire conversation for us, because it really just like allowed us to kind of take the conversation anywhere, like things that I had maybe done that I didn't complete, or things that I thought of doing in this last year that I could really like take into my new year. But we met in like the beginning of January, so we had that long like whole year ahead of us to have that idea to open up that conversation.
And when I opened that conversation, because I want to know, because that helps me learn about you. Like, okay, what's something you know new you want to have done before? And learn like, okay, are you the kind of person who want to go out and do things? Or you're somebody like, oh, I just want to sit here, but you know, I kind of want to do this. Like, it gives you like a little insight on like what your interests are and what you want to do. So for me, I'm like, okay, I can see that maybe we have a vibe, maybe we don't have a vibe, because you said like, oh no, I kind of just want to, you know, sit around and not really do. I'm like, oh well, this is not gonna work for me.
Yeah.
But like the way you opened our conversation flew, and we had a good conversation. We went, and then the next thing I would say, guys, for far as approaching, get off the dating app. Don't sit on the app and sit there and have a conversation. Like, I think within our 3 days of chatting online, I was like, hey, do you want to go play pool? And we got off the app. Like, then we get to see, okay, one, I was like, oh, you are real, because I swear to God, I thought you was fake. I still to this day like. I thought you was a bot, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so great that you're like real, like you're legit.
He swiped left on me.
The first time that she swiped back on me, I was like, oh, okay, maybe. Because when you're on a date, you get swiped on bots a lot as a guy. You get so many bots because they want to keep the guys on there, and so you get fake profiles swiping on you. So I swear I thought you was a fake profile at first. But yeah, then I got the dating app, and then as far as girls approaching on the dating apps, open it with more than just hey. We have a whole bio on there. We have all this stuff in our bio. Don't just open it with hey or with a gift, because we don't know where to go with that. Like, open up with something like, hey, I see that you like dogs, or I saw that you like cars, or I saw that you like the Chiefs, even though you're not into a sports team. Oh, what's your favorite team? If you hit the guy with the right conversation, he is going to blow up and he will continue to talk to you. He's not going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I love this Chiefs, but that's it. No, he'd be like, oh no, the game I was at last week was amazing. It was fun time. Like, I was here. Did you watch? Like, you're going to get all these questions. So, like, you can go off of the guy's profile, and dudes like talking about themselves because they don't get asked about themselves a lot. So you ask a guy about him, he will talk to you and ask you some questions about, like, he will let you know real quick. And if he doesn't, he's just not interested in you. Just saying.
I do feel like if you do ask a guy about themselves, though, it kind of gives us the opportunity to, like, okay, do you, like, how they take the conversation from there, I feel like is a very good sign to determine whether or not we are ready to move forward with that individual as well. So I think that's like a...
Give me an example. Sorry.
No, my gosh, no. So I feel like if you're talking to someone and you're like, hey, like, give me, like, tell me a little bit about yourself, which is a very broad question that I'm sure a lot of people do not like, because it's like, well, I have to say this to every person that asks me. I had that experience one time where I'm like, hey, like, tell me about yourself. And this guy just went off on, like, a 19-paragraph story about, like, his job. Like, he was a blue-collar worker. He was very driven. He told me his whole family lineage on how he came into owning land and, like, all this stuff. And I was just like,
wow.
I think everything about you at this point. And it's been 5 minutes. So, I mean, like, what else is there to say? Like, so...
See, ladies? All right, and then let's go back to in person where you talked about, like, she's out with her friends, she's dressed up and everything, she wants to be approached, but then, like, oh no, I'm busy with my friends. So how should a guy approach a girl when she's out and about with her friends? Like, I think that, like, you get in, say hi, hey, it's nice to meet you, and then as a guy, get out. Like, get in, make your peace, like, say hi. Because y'all, like, let's say y'all at the brunch table or out and about, or you're at a club or a bar or a lounge or somewhere there's a bunch of people at where you're not, as a guy, you don't want to hover. You don't want to be there and be like, hey, no, I saw you over here, can I buy you a drink? And then, like, you have a few conversations and then you just... Like, as a guy, you don't want to just sit there. Like, you're like, okay, well, hey, nice talking to you. May I have your number? If not, maybe walk away and then come back before, like, hey, we're about to leave. May I have your number? I think it could be a little too early to ask for the number, especially if you're going to be there for another hour or so and you're stuck. Like, I got her number, but I can't.
I think that if someone, and, like, obviously taking completely out of context here, but I think that if someone, like, approached me and then kind of gave it some time and we continued on with our nights kind of separately, maybe, like, making eyes at each other, across the bar or across the restaurant, wherever you're at, I think I would feel really comfortable by the end of the day. He was like, hey, me and my friends are about to hang out or head out, like, or I see, you guys are kind of, like, wrapping up or whatever, like, would you mind if I grab your number? I would be like, yeah, totally. I think that's I would feel less, like, I'm going to use the word creepy, but, less pressure for sure.
Creepy pressure? Yeah, go for it.
To say, like, oh, well, like, this wasn't just you finding me and then trying to do this 15 times to anyone that won't get any answer. Like, you kind of gave it some time, allowed me to get comfortable or allowed to create that space so you don't feel like you're hovering. I don't feel like you're hovering. If I'm genuinely interested, I might even come back around and be like, oh, hey, like, like, are you playing a game? Or if you're, like, at an arcade, or you just kind of continue, like I said, to, like, make eyes at them, like, just, like, that body language signal versus just, like, completely, like, writing it off.
So what body language signal should a guy be looking for if he wants to approach a girl?
I'm going to say definitely as a girl and with, like, my girlfriends, like, if we go out and they're, like, looking for a guy, they will, like, look at them and then kind of, like, give them, like, an up and a down, just kind of like a hey, kind of, like a hey. But I feel like if the other person has to be, like, understanding, like, reciprocal, that they understand that kind of nonverbal communication is happening.
Which, a lot of guys, we don't get that.
And so, like, it very well, it could be missed, right? I could just, like, look at you, think that you're looking at me, and you're not looking at me at all, and then I'm like, oh, hey, and you're like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just kind of like, oh, just kidding, I was walking to the bathroom or something funny. I don't know. But I think, yeah, like a non-body language. But as girls, we just like assume, I'm going to speak for everyone here. I think we kind of just like assume that like, if I'm going to give you the eyes, you better know what the eyes mean. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Do you feel like that or no?
I feel like a lot of dudes, we miss it.
Really?
Yeah. We don't sit there because we're not looking for the eyes to look unless like they, not saying they're hip to the game. I hate to say that phrase, but let's somebody taught them like, hey, this is what you want to look for. Like, look for the eyes. They like listen. Like, I listen to podcasts. I've heard that like the eye contact is longer than 3 seconds, whatever the case may be. Then you're like, okay, she's interested. You find a way to get over her somehow. But if it wasn't for me learning from like podcasts and reading books and like that, I would never ever caught like, oh, she made a look at her. I just think like, oh, we just made eye contact, cool, and keep going. Like.
Really?
Yes. I wouldn't think like, oh, she's actually interested in me because she made eye contact with me. Because if I'm like looking at people's eyes, I'm making like eye contact with everybody.
I feel like for a girl, like looking at a guy like that is like a smoke signal, like SOS. Like, this is me looking at you. Like, this is your one shot. Like, are you picking it up or am I walking somewhere else?
See, like, and there are times you talk to a dude and like, I did not know she was hitting on me. 100%. Like, and I've been in that situation where like, you get to the car, you're driving like, God dang it! She was hitting on me. Yeah. But like you like we just don't get that because we're not used to that. Like that was her throwing her shot because we're verbal, physical creatures. So we're like, oh, she come over and say hi to me or something like that. Then that's how I know she's shooting her shot. Versus me making eye contact with her, then rolling back around like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. That's how I feel like. But this is why this podcast exists, so guys can get a perspective on. Okay, this is what it means when a girl is interested in you and you probably should walk over and say hi. Now, what can a guy do to walk over and say hi and not seem creepy?
Ooh.
I think a good way to do it is to not walk directly towards you, but kind of walk like walking by in a sense, and where you kind of get the sense that one, I'm not going to be here forever. Mm-hmm. And two, like you're walking by kind of like at an angle because like direct on is kind of like more of aggressive, like you're just coming straight on to somebody, but you're walking like not, let's say, past in a sense, and you kind of like, hey, I'm on my way this way, but hey, no, I just saw you, like what brings you here real quick, just a quick conversation, what do you think of the environment, can I get you a drink real quick? No, or if not, you're trying to get a drink, or like, hey, can I just shoot a shot, shoot a breeze real quick, like, oh, what brings you guys here? And she tells you, I feel like she would let you know real quick, like, oh, no, I'm just here, with my friends. We're over here. Oh, okay. All right, I'll keep going. Well, no, nice to meet you. Or she's like, no, I'm here with my friends. We actually here and go to this long story. She opens up with a bigger answer than just I'm here with my friends. That I feel like that she's a little more interested in you than just a cold, I'm here with my friends. I'm out.
Yeah, definitely. I also just feel like, I honestly kind of just like, I'm going to go back to the eyes thing. I feel like guys sometimes give the eyes too. Like a little bit of a head nod. They're just like, hey, like, how's it going? And like they maybe do that one time and then like take a circle and then and then like, but at the same time it's like, okay, like we're deciphering, was that the eyes? Was that you're trying to come at me without being like too forward, without saying, because sometimes you may run into the person, they're like, hey, like, can I buy you a drink? You may have that girl that's like, sure, you can buy me a drink, and then I'm never gonna see you again. Like, right? Well, yeah. Not gonna lie, been that girl once or twice. So like, I'm sorry to those people, very sorry. But there is just like, it's not. That's not, and it's just tough because that's not everyone's approach. Right. So I feel like it's obviously gonna be super different for everybody.
Let's say you're at a museum. How would you do it? Like, yeah, there's no alcohol involved, so there's no drinks involved, but
I'm throwing the eyes.
Throwing the eyes?
Throwing the eyes.
Like, all right, like a guy comes over, like how you think he should approach you? Like, should you talk about like, hey, how's the museum going? What brings you here, kind of thing?
If we are at a museum, or just if I'm at a museum and someone is interested in me, I would think that like in my ideal situation, we would be in, I would say like we're in like a gallery space or something, and I'm looking at a piece, or if I'm looking, just generally like in this particular area. If someone made their way into that general area, maybe there was some, looks back and forth between each other, maybe not at
Cross
all.
each other a few times.
Yeah. To okay, I've seen this person kind of walking around before. Like, if I'm uncomfortable, my body language will kind of say, hey, I'm like gonna, exit this room or maybe go find a different area. But if I'm interested, I may just continue like staying there and just kind of like shooting an eye over. But I think it would be very interesting and I feel like kind of a safe bet if like I'm looking at a piece and someone were to approach you, not close, but safe distance away, maybe look at the same piece or in the same general area and just kind of talk about like,
your thoughts on it.
Yeah, like, oh, I really like this piece that kind of makes me this, or like if you know anything about the artist or if you know anything about like the general time that the piece was done or where you're looking at, just kind of bring in that conversation to say, hey, I'm here. This is a safe bet. Like if, you can really gauge from that person's interest to like, oh, like, yep, I liked it too. Like, great, have a great time here. I'm out. That's one way. But if they're generally like, oh, like, wonder who this is. And you're like, oh yeah, like, I like it too. Have you seen this one over here? Or like, oh, like, I noticed you're here by yourself. I'm just moseying around on a Saturday. Like, something fun like that. So it's a safe bet.
Okay. Yeah. So think more like environment. Talk about the environment. It's definitely a good way to open up somebody and not just do a physical, oh, you look really gorgeous, you look really cute. Like,
yeah, to make it something about, not necessarily about the person that you're pursuing, but about like a safer, I guess, just like a safer statement or a safer like observation. So you can say like, hey, I'm in your proximity, but I'm not going to be as forward. But I also think that just like dependent on where you're at location wise when you're interested in someone will completely just change the way that you should approach them. Because like you wouldn't approach someone as you would in a museum, as you would like at a brunch spot or like at a bar or at like a farmer's market or anything like that.
When I was younger, I used to help me out with approaching. I read this book called The Art of War for Dating, which I think is one of the probably best books out there. About like it's definitely dated. It's like at this point it's mid 2000s, but it talk about the approach. Like, and I think a few other people talk about you see somebody you like, go and approach them. Like you have the 3 second rule, I think it's called. Like you have 3 seconds, go approach them. And I used to practice this rule myself, just get it out of my system because you had to get comfortable as a guy. You had to get comfortable approaching women because nowadays, and I mean guys are doing it. So that's going to make you stand out 100%. We already talk about the environment, but I was sitting here thinking, I was like, what about a dude who's kind of like, I'm so nervous to approach that the environment might be too much. Mm-hmm. I used to do this to get myself comfortable, and if a girl, I just thought she looked attractive when I was back, like this is like over 10 years ago. I did this in college. I did this in high school. And I remember I did it with my friend, and AP was on the show. AP, I did it in front of him one day, and I think it was at Oak Park Mall. I'll never forget this. And we walked past this girl, like her and her friends. I actually went back and said, hey, I just want to let you guys know y'all look really beautiful tonight. And I just walked away. I just left that and walked away. And he was like, dang, Ali, I didn't think you had that in you. I was like, well, I'm getting used to practicing the 3 second rule because you never know, and they might not, that might be something that might brighten their day.
Right.
That one time. And as once you get used to doing that, get used to just walking up and saying that and walk away, don't sit in there. Like, don't hang in there. The reason why you don't want to hang in there, because you don't want to be like, if you hang around, that's creepy. You just jump and say, hey, I think you're really, really gorgeous today, and then just walk away and mind your own business. One, hopefully that makes her feel better, because maybe she might not heard that in a while. That makes her feel better. And then two, you got a little practice in.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think, but yeah, I like your advice on that. Like, talk about the environment and the different spots, and then look at the eyes. So, guys, is that something you are interested in? Definitely keep your eyes on the eyes.
Body language for sure.
All right, now we're going to talk about like girls approaching guys. Like, how should a girl approach a guy in your opinion? So, like, she's like, oh, I'm tired of sitting here waiting for him to come over and make a move. I think he's really hot. I'm going to go shoot my shot. How should a girl approach a guy in person?
I feel like there's a lot of different types of girls. There are girls that are really like more quiet and reserved. I've got a couple of friends like that who, if they saw a guy that they like, probably the last thing they would do is be like, oh, hey, like, how are you doing tonight? But, on the contrary, I feel like there are a lot of girls who just feel comfortable like walking up to guys and just being like, hey, how's it going? Like if they're, dancing with somebody or dancing with their friends, they might just walk up and just start dancing with them. Like I have friends that would very much do that. But in that same friend group, I have friends that would probably never speak to a guy unless he talked to her first. So I think it's a little challenging to say that there's like one particular answer for that. Definitely whatever the girl feels most comfortable with. Like if you are quiet and reserved, maybe don't make yourself uncomfortable. Make sure that you're prioritizing like what you feel confident in. But if it's, nonverbal communication, then maybe exercise that. Or I don't feel awesome when I have, like, let's say like one of my friends is interested in somebody and another one of my friends goes and tells that guy. I don't care for that.
Really?
Yes.
I was just thinking like maybe that's the end. Maybe
that's what I like had a feeling. I was just like, I don't really care for that, because if I was approached by a guy's friend and I was like, oh, my guy friend over there thinks you're really cute, I'd be like, then get him over here. Why are you talking to me? You know what I mean?
I think that could be a double standard though.
1,000%.
That could be a double standard.
1,000%.
Because like
girls do that all the time.
Right?
Like, my girlfriend thinks you're so cute. Like, oh, which one is she? She's that one over there. It's like, okay, great. I think she's cute. Or no, like, have a great night.
Because I was gonna say, like, I think a guy, like a girl came over and was like, hey, I don't think you're attractive, but my friend does. That like opens up the conversation to like, oh, okay, now as a guy, that's my end. That's my chance to shoot my shot. But I can see for the opposite way around when the guy's supposed to be the approacher and his friend comes over and he's like in the background like.
But I also kind of think that it like takes it back to like, generally speaking, like I'm looking for like somebody who's confident in themselves and can carry a conversation and is, just comfortable with themselves. And when I think another man is approaching me to introduce me to a friend that maybe doesn't have those immediate qualities, I'm already kind of like, I'm not very interested. Like if he can't approach me, I don't think that I'm interested. And maybe I'm missing out on like a great person, but for me, it's not something that I'm just like drawn to.
It's a confidence thing. Like,
sure.
Generally women love confidence, and that's the way to show confidence. Like, you gotta make that approach. There was something I listened to, or somebody said something that was like, if a guy approached me, I'm more likely to talk to him. In today's dating world, a girl's more likely to talk to a dude that's approaching than the guy who's on the app just swiping. Because when everybody's swiping, this one person is somebody who's like, I bet you can take the steps to make it over there and say hi. And I think she said, even though I might not be 100% into him, I'm more intrigued
1,000%.
because he came over and talked to me 1,000%. Versus just sit behind the app and just left swipe, right swipe,
because
right
you can
swipe.
be whoever you want to. And like, obviously the intent of being on a dating app is to get to know people and to see who is in this pool of dating people. But when you're on that dating app, you're kind of thinking like, well, if you're talking to me, you're probably talking to 15 other versions of me or other versions of other girls. And that's totally fine because we're clearly not exclusive. And, that's what we're here looking for, is to find somebody who is interested in each other. But at the same time, it just like takes the like authenticity away from it, kind of. You're just like, if someone's walking up to you in a bar or in a restaurant or in a museum or wherever you're at, that like, okay, you're going a little out of your way to like make yourself known to me. If I'm on a cell phone, behind a screen, you're probably doing this to everybody, and that's totally fine.
Right.
But it's more like personable, and it's definitely more like kind of like confidence, like you said. Like you had confidence to walk over to me and be like, "Hi, my name is
so and so,
John." I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, as a guy, dude should definitely approach for her. I think the girl, it's okay for her to be like, hey, I actually had this happen to me while I was with a girl, and she's like, Ali, him. And I was like, him? Hey, she wants to talk to you. And the dude was like, huh? Like, yeah, she wants to talk to you. Like, all right, cool. And he walks his way over to her, and she started having a full conversation with this dude that she pointed out. Like, she told me, she's like, Ali, him. And I was like, the dude who's like 6'4", she's like, yeah, it's him. I'm like, hey man, she wants to talk to you. And he was like, word, okay. And he just sauntered on over.
I also kind of feel like though it's because like we as like women have that like ability to be more like delicate and like, not so abrasive or like forward. Like, we have that, like, kind of, like, pass to be like, like, you know? So it kind of, like, works out better that way. For women, I would think, than men. Right. In my opinion, I guess.
And then for the guys, like, so ladies, if you want to go out and meet some guys and like get your friends together, maybe get a mixture of a group. You can get a group of guys and girls and talk to the other guys to go approach the dude that you want to talk to, because that one, a dude approaching another guy is not gonna be like, unless it's two things, like either he knows who I am or something that happened that I'm like not prepared for. But most likely, unless everybody's having a good time, nobody's coming here like to be aggressive. So the dude's gonna say, hey, just over here, let you know my friend wants to talk to you. The ball's down your court, go shoot your shot. That's pretty much it. So I think, but if you have a group of girls, it's gonna be, not to say it's harder, but for one of the girls,
I feel like it's harder for men to approach a group of girls than a mixed group.
Mixed group, like.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was thinking of one moment where like I got my friend with St. Patty's. I never forget this, and we got into the conversation of who would get the most numbers between Drake and Future. It was a conversation like if you didn't know who they were. You didn't know if they their celebrity background. They literally just two dudes walking the bar. They look like Drake and Future. Who would get the most numbers? Drake, for sure. And this conversation happened between my friend group and then I was like, we need more people in this. So I went over to the table of girls to ask this question to them. I was like, hey, we all have a discussion here. We can't figure out who will win. We need help. Who's gonna win this number game? Drake or Future? And the girls, like, a lot of girls said Drake, one girl said Future. Well, one of the girls who was in that group started talking to my friend, I'm not gonna drop his name on here, but he started talking to my friend, and they started having a full conversation that lasted about like 20 minutes because of me went over and introduced them to us. I wasn't trying to talk to anybody. I didn't go to work actually, so I wasn't drinking or anything. So, but everybody else was, and she started having a full-fledged conversation. They kept going. So like, I ended up bringing her into the friend group by popping that question, but I was the one that I did the approaching. And so ladies, if you're looking to meet somebody, get one of your guy friends to join you guys. And matter of fact, get a guy who's in a relationship, who is married, who don't have like he don't have the opportunity to do that kind of stuff. Where you're like, oh, you want to go approach some people? Why not? I feel like people in couples and who are committed, they're like, give me a task to do. I'll go do this. I'll shoot the shot for you. Why not?
I feel like as a girl, like if I was with one of my guy friends and I was like, hey, that guy over there, like I want to talk to him, I'd feel super comfortable. I'd be like, because it's not one of my girls being like immediately like shot down. They don't have to feel like they're like being, any like if they felt uncomfortable about it. Like, you're already a guy. You can talk to anybody, any one of these guys. Like, go get that man for me. I feel totally comfortable with that.
Right?
Yeah. No, definitely. Good call.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get to TikTok. So we're actually going to do this first one here from Can I Vibe With Y'all podcast. And we're going to go ahead and start it off. And here we go. The question that is asked is
what are your thoughts on the quote, if he wants to make the time, he will?
I love this quote. I think it's true.
It's 100% true.
No matter what his status is.
The time that you can give, if that's like what you can give.
Once a month.
Nobody has... Come
okay,
on
but
now.
once a month, what
He's
though?
always traveling.
No, if a man wanted to, he would. He will find the time.
Home once a month, and let's say you're home for 3 days, right? But like if you're emotionally involved in a relationship, like you call me, you check in, FaceTime, and like you're engaged, then okay, like, but eventually it's gonna get to a point where like we need to make a decision, and like this can't be our life forever.
So yeah, if he, that's from the Can I Vibe With Y'all podcast. If you want to make a time, he will. What's your thoughts on that one? And I just think it's true. I think if he had the time, if he wanted to make time, he will make the time. I feel like a dude wouldn't be like, oh well, I can't do this weekend. I'm gonna make it. If you keep making excuses, then he doesn't want. He's not invested. So he will make the time if he wanted to. Even though, like, let's say his schedule is once a month. If he's once a month and he's traveling, I definitely believe that he will find a way to, hey, I'm back in town this month, or he'll give you a schedule like, hey, I'm out of town this month, but I'll be back this month. I'll be back this time, and it's up to the lady to make the decision whether or not she wants to be down with her or not. What do you think?
I definitely think that if you are a priority for a man or anyone in a relationship, that they will make time for you, because if they're interested in you, they want to pursue you and they want to hang out with you and they want to make time for you. But I think it becomes evident that if they're choosing other things every time or more often than choosing you, that maybe they're just not as interested as potentially you are. For sure.
For sure. All right. Here's the next video from The Desirable Truth. We actually got a handful of these we're going to react to. So, this question he goes off was, what do you hate? And let's see what he has to say here.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
What do you hate the most about dating?
Men don't put in any effort.
No effort. They just expect us to just have everything ready, and they have no plan ever.
Like, buy me flowers.
Yes.
Buy me coffee.
Come to my house and bring me coffee, and let's go out on a date. Doesn't have to be crazy, but just plan something.
Yeah.
So these guys that you're talking about, have you already slept with them?
Yes.
Don't you think that maybe you just, gave it up a little bit too easy, so he's like, why do I have to put in any effort for it?
Well, how do we change that? Are you gonna give me some advice?
By making him wait? Or finding a guy who, is down to fuck, but also build something too.
Well, I don't know where to find them.
So is it that men aren't interested in doing these things, or are you just, choosing the wrong men?
No, I think
Both.
yeah, both. They're lazy.
Yeah.
Do you like good guys though, or do you want somebody who's gonna treat you like shit?
Good guys.
50-50.
She's different than me.
50-50.
I don't like the whole treat a woman like shit and that's the way to get her. I'm not a fan of that.
So why do you keep chasing the guys who aren't really chivalrous with you?
I don't
Preach.
know. I don't know.
We needed this wake-up call.
Why is that a thing?
I feel like I was just smacked in the face by this man.
What are you doing?
He just really called out everything I was thinking when they were saying that. I was just like, dude, he's right. He really is right. Listen to him talk to these girls. Completely right. Wow.
Yeah, I think they're choosing the wrong guys.
For
Now,
sure.
I don't like the whole thing of like making them wait for sex, because to me, making them wait, there'll be some dudes who like, oh, we're gonna play that game. We're playing the waiting game. I'm gonna stay around till I get it, and then, oh, I got it now. All of a sudden, like, what? We waited 3 months. Yeah. Bye. Like, I think you have to watch the action and see what he's doing. He hitting you up every night with the, you up? Hey, what are you doing? You up? What are you doing? Are you up right now? You want to come over? Like, if the dude's not making plans to take you out on dates and do stuff, then he probably only in it for sex. Like, if he's like actually like, hey, I'm gonna take you out. Let's go hiking. Let's go let's go plan a date. Like, he's making times and plans versus just, what are you doing? Are you up right now? Like, is he doing the effort? I guess the effort amount of it. Like, 1 week you can get away with. 2 weeks, okay, but week 6 and he's like, hey, let's go meet at this restaurant, let's go on a date, and let's go do something else, and he's not making it about sex, then you know he genuinely want to talk to you and not just there for sex.
I kind of agree. Because I feel like...
Go for it.
I'm about to. Because I feel like I have talked to guys and they put that out there like, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking to be serious with somebody. And then you go on a date or two and maybe you probably hook up. And then they never talk to you again. And it's like, well, that's funny because 2 weeks ago, you wanted a whole relationship. And now you're nowhere to be found. But you still wanted to go on some dates. And that's fine. But I feel like sometimes some people are under the impression, well, the only way to get to having sex with somebody is to get them there by going on dates. And that's fine. But there's also those people who are genuinely just like actually looking for a relationship. And then there are those people who know how to work getting what they want by following the rules or guidelines for what women expect or want, are hoping to get, but they still are doing the same thing. Hell, just be honest and tell me you would like to hook up at this point. I'll be respectful and say, yes or no, this is what I'm looking for too, or, maybe we're not aligned on what we're looking at together. But I feel like some people are very good at playing the cards.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Right. Now, do you think they're going after bad boys in this situation? Well, one, she said 50-50, so she was honest.
She was honest.
Yeah.
The other one was not honest, but based off of the reaction to his questions, I mean, even I was kind of like, this man is attacking me. Like, because, I would have had the same answer. Like, but when she said, some men are lazy, I think that she's genuinely choosing the wrong people. Because kind of goes back to, if they're interested, they will. Or if they want to make time, they will. If people generally want to take you out on a date and are wanting to get to know you, they will.
Right.
And so, that's, the difference between dating anyone that I've dated in the past and dating you is, night and day difference. You genuinely, wanted to get to know me and, wanted to go on dates and, wanted to do that.
Right.
That is nearly impossible to find. That is, so genuine right off the bat in this day and age.
I also think a thing with me that, I was at the point where I was over the sex. You can get sex on a dating app. If you look at, and I remember telling Bree, I remember one night I was like, I'm lonely. She's like, what? You're lonely? I was like, no, I am genuinely lonely. I'm tired of she's like, what do you mean? I can go get sex. That's not hard. Get on a dating app, swipe, hey, I'm looking to hook up. Okay, I'll find somebody to have sex with. Is it a person I want to spend a relationship with? No. I genuinely want somebody, I want intimacy, I want a relationship, I want somebody I can build a future with, somebody I can invest. I know for a fact when I invest in her, she's going to invest in me. Well, I feel like you invest in me, and I feel like I'm going forward with you. I can see myself with you for decades. I genuinely was looking for that versus just, I just want to hook up.
Yes. I will say though, as women, I feel like we tend to invest a little bit more up front and then hope that men or our partners kind of catch up to where we're at. So by the time we're on that first date or second date, we're thinking we're headed to a relationship. That may not be the case for the person on the other end. See?
As a guy, that first date is it could be, okay, let's see what happens. If the dude generally looking for a relationship, he's let's see what happens. But I also can't looking for the mindset, I want to hook up, date 3, date 4. That's when people start hooking up. Okay. Especially if you've been on a dating game for so long, generally, hey, let's meet here, let's go on a date here, let's go on a date here. Third date, hey, what are you doing tonight? Can get super comfortable. I've been talking to Serge for 3 weeks. I'll go hang out at his place. Why not? Next thing you're in a hookup phase, now you're hooking up, and now are we a situationship? Are we a friends with benefits? Or what are we? I don't know. And the guy be I don't know, I'm just here.
But in our mind, we're just okay, he's spending money on me, he's taking me on dates, he wants me to come over. In my mind, we're headed to a relationship.
And
that's not the case.
Not always the case. Not always the case. The dude be oh yeah, we think we had a relationship, but he be I really I like her, but I'm not sure I'll be in a relationship with her. And that you get I like her enough to hook up with her. Do I see myself in a relationship with her?
And I feel that's why we as women kind of get our feelings hurt, more often, because we're putting more in it up front and we're hoping to get, a genuine return of what we're looking for, but we're probably just not on the same page all the time.
Right. So. I know for me, I was okay, there's a few things I have to notice to see. One, you have to see me in my football phase, which you caught me in that phase, which is good for you. You have to see how I react in football, because I am a different person in football season than I am regular season or not off season.
Me too.
And you saw that, you got to experience that, and then I was are you competitive? And you were competitive. I was okay, perfect. This is great. She's competitive. She's sports, and we're talking about different stuff, and just going on and having a conversation that can flow for hours. Bam. Those things for me, it made you more girlfriend material and made relationship material than just hookup material. And that sounds horrible to say, but as a guy, that's what ladies, hear me out when I say this. Just listen to what I just said there. As a guy, what made those things for me, was she competitive? Was she into things that I was okay, this makes, and she's fun to talk to and fun to hang out with. Like, these things make her more like, all right, she is somebody I want to be in a relationship with and want to move. And this, like I said, she's a good person. She opens doors. She doesn't slam doors in people's face. She doesn't be bad at waitresses and stuff like that. She genuinely cares about people. I was like, this person here, this girl, like, I am going to date the shit out of her. Like, versus somebody I'm like, yeah, she's cool, but nah, she's not really competitive. Nah, she's not really, like, she's seen all the things I'm into. She's a geek out and she's like, not really interested. Like, and that right there, like, okay, hookup, fine, that works, but like, relationship, maybe not. And those guys who really want to find somebody, they'll be like, no, this girl scratches my itch. I want to date her. Or like, nah, she don't really scratch the itch that I'm looking for, but fun hookup. And dudes will keep that and they will run with it. They were like, consistent hookup, I'm saying it.
Meanwhile, we're like, I think we're dating. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, I guess we're not dating.
All right.
That's kind of awkward.
All right, next video here, and this is from the Zakka Truth. We got a handful of these. We might do like 3 more of these. All right, let's see what we got.
How do you feel about the way your girl is dressed right now?
Right now, we're all mature enough to know that at this point in our life, bro, women gonna have some titties, bro. So it's like,
so you don't care about the fact that I visibly can see that her nipples are pierced?
Yeah.
me, I mean, I would say that I don't really care, because it's like, if I'm gonna be honest, hey, part of the attraction for me initially was that.
How would you feel if he wanted you to wear something different?
I probably, I mean, it depends.
If he was like, nah, I just don't want your nipples showing.
I don't know. You want a bad bitch? You better commit to a bad bitch,
exactly,
period.
Yeah, I think that if it's something like, it would be one thing if I came into the relationship like, you know,
she wasn't a bad bitch.
And she was like, you know, not showing that stuff, and then all of a sudden one day she starts showing it.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
different.
But it's nothing new to me, is what I'm saying. It's like I came into it, I knew what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
All right, I want to play that one. There's another one in this group that is similar, and I'm trying to see which one is it. Is it this one? Nope. Okay, here we go. It's this one right here. And here we go.
Really?
So this is
I
two
feel like
different perspectives.
Should he have any say in what you wear when you leave the house?
Answer correctly.
Not really, but I feel like if I'm feeling confident and he's with me, I don't see the problem. But if I'm going out by myself and my girlfriends, he could have a say in what I wear.
I do have a say in what she wears, especially if she's going out with just her friends and she's not with me.
So it's happened before?
Oh yeah. She would go in the closet, pick out a couple shirts. Oh no, I don't want you to wear that. Just stuff like that.
I really don't have the energy to argue over something so little, so I would just find something else to wear.
All right, what's your thoughts on those 2 videos?
Okay, well, let's start with the first one.
Okay.
I was kind of distracted by his jorts, and I'm being totally real. I can't lie to the camera right now. His jorts really threw me off. So I really did hope that he didn't care what she wore.
I used to wear jorts back in college.
What?
Yep, and then my fraternity brothers like, don't you ever wear jorts? I was like, I thought jorts was in. Like, nah. All right, well, don't wear jorts anymore. Hey, you wore jorts, they had like white, like there were jorts here, but then like white like this there. I thought it was in. They went past my knees, and then he was like, yeah, you're in a fraternity. It's a different style. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna just, college style.
The jorts were done that day.
Yeah.
I feel like jorts are in for girls right now.
Oh, jorts are always in for women.
Like long jorts though. Like men's jorts are in for girls right now.
Past
with
knees?
like a crop top, yeah, and some Jordans.
I can see it. Oh, well, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. Like early 2000 jorts, like basketball jorts, like. Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, they seem like they have a healthy relationship. The first couple does. She definitely feels very confident in herself and the way that she carries herself. I feel like he found attraction in that initially, right off the bat. He mentions that. obviously very like comfortable in themselves, and you know, they're almost like their sexuality, how they portray themselves, how she portrays herself, and definitely like she exudes confidence. You know, she's not like asking him, you know, like to validate her in any way, which I thought was cool. And if they're both in agreement that like they can live freely like that, more power to them. I feel like that's how we are. Like, you always hype me up, like no matter what I'm married. 1,000%. And so I love that. And I've personally never been in a relationship or a situationship or any type of experience at all where I've ever had any kind of experience like the second video where someone has an input on what I wear. I have had a friend who was in a relationship like that. It was not a healthy relationship. So it kind of took me back to that space. I didn't necessarily care for the second video. I don't know. It wasn't a confidence thing. The girl seemed confident in what she was saying. I feel like she was a little... I don't even know what I felt like she was. She was just... To say, like, I'm not trying to fight with you over an outfit. Like, it shouldn't be a fight at all at any point in time. Ever. Because I'm not about to walk around and tell you what to wear.
Right.
Keep the jorts. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I might be like, jorts, you know, but like, I'm never going to tell you to like change because I don't like what you're wearing or I don't feel comfortable with what you're wearing. It makes me feel like I'm not, like, if you told me to change, I'd be like, well, you're not confident in this relationship. Like, I feel like there's some type of trust issue where you don't trust me to wear whatever I want and still go out. Like, if I wanted to be exposed in any type of way, I would feel like, you know, I don't feel like I need to check with you to be okay with that. And that's kind of unfortunate that she feels that way.
Right. And this is something that gets me to, the first dude, like, that first relationship to me is a healthier relationship because the fact that they was like, dude, I was already attracted to that. I was attracted to her like that. He's like, now I started dating her and she wasn't like that. And then she started wearing, like, revealing clothing and started wearing something like, wait a minute, your nipples pierced all of a sudden. What's going on here? Did I miss something? Or, like, is somebody else involved? Like, that'd be more of a red flag where he was like, I was talking to you was, you know, button all the way up to the top and bonnet on your head. And I sure why I said bonnet, but I went there for some reason. That's don't know why my thought process went there. But like fully closed, ankles not being shown. And all of a sudden now you're like, wait, thighs out?
She got the ankles out.
Wait, you have a crop top on? Wait, low cut? I think cleavage showing? Like, wait a minute, what happened? You say you want to be like, what happened? I need to know, like, pause. Like, are you having a revolution? Good for you. I'm all about it. Like, I like the fact that first dude was like, I was here for this. That's why I started talking to her. I want to see her like that. Plus, like, heck, if he can't look at his if he want to look at his girlfriend like that, who's better to look at than his girlfriend wearing that versus the other guy? That would be a dude who I feel like, I'm not saying he would do this, but one, he doesn't answer correctly. So like one, that relationship doesn't sound healthy at all. It's like he's abusive. And then she's like, I don't want to fight over something that's little. Okay, that's your thing. You feel like wearing clothing is little, but like the fact that he's trying to say what you say. If you go out with you can wear what you want to wear when you're around him, but when you go out with your friends, you can't be comfortable because you're afraid of what he's going to say. To me, that's a little more abusive in a sense, like just emotionally abusive, mentally abusive. But on top of that, he's gonna wear what he want to wear when he go out with his friends, and then on top of that, he's gonna look at girls who are wearing less revealing clothes when he go out with his friends versus like, why not he just look at his girlfriend who will wear that stuff? Like, heck, I want my girlfriend to wear like, yeah, be you girl, wear that. Like, heck yeah, I'm gonna look just like everybody else. Because I'm attracted to it. I understand why guys are like, oh, I want a bad girl. I want a girl who do all this stuff. But then I want to be like, she got to be like clean, but can't do any of this. Or she's a bad girl, but then when she dates me, she got to cover everything. What? Well, that makes no sense because then you're going to go look at the other girl over there who's wearing like next to nothing, like, okay. And then your girlfriend looking at you, who are you looking at? He's like, oh, I was looking at the sky. The sky's not down there. Oh, I was trying to figure out something. Like, figure out what? I was just thinking. Like, thinking about what? Why you? Not sure why my impression of a guy getting caught is Shaquille O'Neal's voice. But that first guy, he's like, okay, this is my girlfriend. She wears this. I'm looking because I'm gonna hype her up. I'm like, I love the way she dressed. I'm here for it. The other guy, I want a girl dressed like this girl right here, but I don't want my girl dressing like that. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. You want a bad girl, but you don't want her to be confident in herself.
He was immediately like trying to control the narrative from the moment he was like, get the right answer. Like, you better not be wrong. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going to make a very bold statement here. I'm going to say that I feel like women who end up with men like that usually lack the confidence in themselves, and they look for somebody who will kind of be that like stability for them. Because I feel like if she was with a guy like in the first video, I don't necessarily know that she would feel like secure, because maybe she would feel like, oh, well, he doesn't care what I wear, like he doesn't care about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's that sense of like, not like manipulation, but kind of like a mind game, like, well, if he cares what I wear, he cares about me. Sister, that is not the case.
Right.
He is caring about the wrong thing.
The wrong thing.
Absolutely the wrong thing.
All right, let's go 2 more videos, and then we'll call it for TikTok.
Okay.
All right, next video. Like, we got a lot of desirable truths here. Like, this dude be popping off questions. So here's another one from him that I think is a very interesting one. And here we go.
What benefits do you get from having him as a friend?
He's always there for me, that's for sure. One call away, my best friend and ex-boyfriend, so.
She calls us friends, but I don't consider us friends.
Well, what do you consider her?
Technically still figuring it out, but I'm the one she calls when she needs to cry.
Have you thought about doing it again?
I've tried.
It's a work in progress.
But I mean, if you've already,
3 years.
When I imagine life in the future, it's always been him, so it's different to go back from that.
So you guys are just trying to work on things?
See how it goes.
I'm trying to work on things.
So if you were going to get back with her, what would you have her change?
The one thing that I've ever asked of her is communication. I never cared who she was with or where she was. I just wanted to know that she was safe, and that's all I wanted.
Communication can be there, but comprehension is a completely different thing.
Was it on your side or his?
I mean, I can do a lot. I can do a lot, but
Tell the truth.
I mean, I can do a lot, that's for sure, but both sides, it's got to be 50-50, that's for sure.
What does she mean, comprehension?
Apparently, to me, when she said comprehension, man, she told him that I don't see you as more than what we are here. Maybe she's like the boyfriend, girlfriends, and then she's like, I don't see you as. She's probably not 100%. She's not 100% into him as more than a significant other. She probably seemed like, hey, you're fun to be around with. I enjoyed your time, but I want more. And maybe he can't provide more, whatever the case would be, or maybe that wasn't her type. That wasn't her thing, and it faded for her. And
she said that when she thinks at her future, she sees him, and he is obviously trying.
Right, but that's his ex-girlfriend. Like,
that's his ex figuring it out.
I think this guy needs to move on. Like, he's staying in the circle. She's like, well, she called me when of course she's gonna call you because she's comfortable. You are the pair of pajamas that she wears when she wants to go to bed and she feels comfortable with and wake up with, but she's not wearing those pajamas outside when she goes out and hit the floor and hit the on the night of town. And that not have to be a club. It can be when she goes to brunch or go to dinner with her friends or go to a movie. She's not wearing those pajamas out. You are those pajamas, man. You have to get out. So if you find yourself in a situation, guys, where you want to talk to this girl and y'all went through, y'all gave it a shot, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna come back to you and talk to you when the dude breaks up with me, or the guy, and you're sure to cry on it, but I don't see you more than just a friend. He's hoping that she sees him more, and hopefully one day she's gonna come back around. If she does come around and she's gonna resent, like, couldn't find anything better, here I am with you. Do you want that?
No.
Not at all.
She for sure did kind of sound like she friend zoned him, and he was adamant that he was like, I'm trying to work on things. It's me putting in the effort. It might just be time to pack out those bags and say, this ain't it for us.
And that's the fact you got put on internet on blast like that. So you're sitting there just like looking sad, like a sad puppy. So they're just like, well, it's all her. She's not the one who's like, she moved on, man, and it sucks. It hurts. Like, I think you go through a breakup, you have to get away. You can't just sit in it. Like, I need to go figure out myself.
Yeah.
Because that's how you don't find yourself going out on a night of town with your ex / figuring out, sitting there and while she's telling the world the truth. Like, no, that's because she's going to talk to a man that night and not think of you at all. Like, she's going to talk to somebody, and when that dude comes to approach her and asks, who is that? She's like, oh, that's my friend.
That's my ex. Like, we're not here together. 1,000%. But if a woman approached him, chances are he'd be like, oh, I'm here with somebody. I can totally see that.
He has to get out.
Ooh, I did not like her.
He has to get out. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. She was moved on. He was the post-it for her. Stick around, put you where I need you, use you when I do. But she was very not serious about him.
So what's your advice to this guy who's like obviously think that like there's still a shot?
Honestly, I think that he needs to move on. I don't think that he will, or it's going to take her just being all kinds of mean to him, like to the point where he's just like, I know I've had enough and I know that it's not going to work. Because even just the kind of the disconnect in the communication when he was like, all I asked for her was communication, and she was immediately like, well, there's more to that than communication. It's just like she's already got like this fight on where she's like, you know, like, I know if she was serious about it, I feel like she'd be like, you know, there are things that I'm trying to work on for myself, things that I took away from what happened when the relationship ended that I am still processing or, you know, thinking about differently. But she was just on the defense right away. Like, I don't think that she's interested or involved anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be hard for him, but dude, you gotta get away from her, block her on everything, cell phone, social media, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. No, he has to get out. Like, he cannot see her at all because he constantly see him keep reminded like that's what I wanted. And then when she calls him, he has to like, new phone, who's this? Like, he has to play that game because the more he gets away from her, the more he gets to see that like, this wasn't the right relationship for me. You know, I felt like it is. The way she treats me is not what I want to really be treated. And then he's going to meet a girl who actually going to treat him the way he wants to be treated. He'll be like, oh, can't believe this is that easy. All right. Next video here. I actually want to play this. And then we have to go and listen to a video involving the Kardashians. So here we go.
The green line theory. Yep. You brought it over to TikTok for the common man to understand.
I just did it once for a Kim K, Pete Davidson photo. People just loved it.
Look at a photo. The person that's leaning in is the lesser person in that relationship. If the male's leaning in and the female's standing up, more than likely that relationship isn't going to end too well.
Obviously, it's not like a perfect science. We're looking at photos and drawing lines. If your buddy's leaning into his girlfriend like this, it's like, what are you doing, dude? Get yourself together. For the most part, the green line test is, you know, comedy, but there's a lot of truth in it. A woman going like this on the shoulder of a man, and it's like, oh, she trusts him, like she adores him, which is like what relationships should be. But if she's standing stiff or like leaning away from the guy, that's not good body language. Like, that doesn't show to me that you like that person.
Okay, so there's that, and then by the way, that's from John Bernard K. And then from there, we have this video here from Nell.
Who initiated the idea?
Lauren. All right, here we go.
I just wonder whose idea this was. Like, who initiated the idea of going to a basketball game? Because we all know this is Kendall's hunting grounds. And I guess Bad Bunny has no idea because this is how he was the entire time. And I mean, green line test? Anyone? Like, I feel like in this photo, she's probably like, oh my God, is that one of my exes? And again, Bad Bunny, no idea, just hypnotized by her the entire time. Like, this photo right here gives me the same energy as Drake and Rihanna in the club a couple of years ago. Like, I don't think anything Rihanna said was possibly that funny. But there were also a bunch of other photos of them, like, even leaving the game or leaving and getting up during, like, halftime where she's just, like, clearly walking in front of him. And he's like, oh, but wait, Kendall, I love you.
So this green line test theory, what do you think of that? One, the dude did say it's comedy, but at the same time, he's like, there's some truth to it. I'm like, oh, okay.
I never heard about that until today, like right now.
I literally just heard about it like a couple days ago too. And I was like, what is this? Actually, this came across my thing first about Bad Bunny leaning into Kendall. Okay, leaning into Kendall. I was like, make sure I get the right one. Leaning into Kendall like that, and the only pictures of him and her leaning, like there's no picture of her leaning back into him. Now, granted, she is leaning away from him, so body language tests would be like, oh, body language. Why she's not leaning at least like into each other, like she's leaning away most of the time, which body language look like, yeah, it looks like she's not, 100% into it like he is, but I don't know, especially this right here, like she's still leaning away instead of like they're both leaning into each other, like they're laughing. I don't know. I don't think this green line test thing, and the other dude used it for, he said Kim K and Pete Davidson, where Pete was like hugging on Kim like this, and Kim was standing straight up. I guess she's not leaning into him. And the person who's doing is the weaker one of the relationship. I think people just try to find out a way to just start issues and start drama. I don't know much about this girl. Like, I get body language. Like, you want somebody who's leaning into you, or who, like, if somebody's interested in you, they're gonna lean into you or face you, versus kind of like facing away. But this is just one picture. If Kim was doing this in every picture with Pete Davidson, where she was leaning away from him and he leaned into her and she's like always pulling away, okay, there's something there. But the dude's giving her his girl a kiss.
Yeah, I feel like I have a couple of takes on this. Body language wise, I feel like what I've heard previously is like if guy or girl, whatever, whoever's like, if you cross your legs towards an individual, that means that you're like attracted to them, or like, you feel comfortable with them. You cross your legs in the opposite direction, you kind of feel, a little bit opposite. In the picture of Kendall, her legs kind of flip-flopped back and forth. So I thought that was interesting. An interesting take on things. But the majority of the time, they're pointed away from him. And you can kind of see her body language is always kind of diagonal from him, not at him. And his is always in towards her. But from a different kind of viewpoint, as somebody who watches this show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or just the Kardashians in general, they have expressed on one of the previous episodes that they were not raised having a lot of intimacy with either one of their parents. So intimacy is something that they're not very comfortable with, and they are not very PDA. They don't hug on people, touch on people all the time. That's just not how they are. So that part, it throws me opposite, because I'm just well, shoot, I don't know, because I feel like I know that from the show.
That's good. That's good information to have, though, because if you know somebody the love language, I talked about in the previous episode, when it comes to love language, if Bad Bunny knows that okay, Kendall is not big on affection or big on coming close to somebody, and plus this is 3 pictures from the game. We don't have the full thing here of what she was doing during the game. Was she leaning more into him versus him leaning more into her? So this is one-sided here, which you can create a narrative off of certain pictures. But if they're not big on intimacy and big on touching like that, then it would make sense that why they were seen a little standoffish in pictures. Plus, like with Kendall and Pete Davidson situation, they're in public and somebody taking a picture of them in public. Like, they didn't take that picture themselves. Somebody took a picture of that right there. And you've seen the picture or the video of Ben Affleck open the door open for Jennifer Lopez looking annoyed as all get out. And because paparazzi was right there, he was like, really? Like, maybe Kim was like, oh, they're right here. And people's like, oh, forget the people. I'm going to go and give you a hug anyway. And Kim's like, I just don't want to. Like,
I think something to also keep in mind, though, is she is coming out of a decade-long marriage.
Right.
You know, like, this is her first relationship outside of the marriage that she so publicly got out of. It is very not healthy from what I can take of it.
Right.
And what you see online. But just to, like, know that she had experienced, like, all this stuff, like, very publicly, like, I would probably not be all over somebody too if that was happening in my life. I don't know.
Right. No, that's a good point. And then they pull Barack and Michelle, which people consider one of the best relationships there is.
Powerhouse.
And you can find pictures of Michelle leaning to Barack and Barack leaning to Michelle. It's vice versa. But they try to say Michelle's a lesser man, but then they pull up, I should get political here, but then they use Trump as two women on his side. Like, I don't think that's a good example. Like, Kim and Kanye West is somebody who don't really like touch either. Like, he just looked like somebody. Anytime you watch Kanye walk with somebody, he's always walking side by side and looks annoyed as all get out. Even though he could be happy, he never looked like he's actually somebody who looks like he's happy. Jay-Z, I'm pretty sure, I think the picture of Jay-Z and Beyonce with Jay-Z leaning into Beyonce and Beyonce leaning to Jay-Z, vice versa. Now, granted, people say Jay-Z cheated, but we can talk about that right now. It's a different topic for a different day. But look at these photos. Don't read too much into this green line rule. You're somebody out there watching TikToks like, oh, the green line rule, I mean, she must not be into me. Don't look at it like that, because you will find pictures where there's one person leaning at somebody else, the next picture the other person leaning the opposite way. So not look into that, how they treat you, how they make you feel, how do you feel when you're around them. That's what you want to look at versus, are they leaning into me or not? Let me just break the green line rule real quick.
No, I had never heard about this rule until this TikTok right now.
And apparently there's a bunch of, I heard, because why I came across my first video was the Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny, and she was talking about it. I was like, what's this green line? And I searched it, and then I came across this dude who, not him, but him, he has a bunch of videos, and he talks about it. I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'm out. All right, we'll do some, Am I the Jerk from good old Reddit?
Yes.
All right, and we'll do 3 of these and call it a day here. All right, so the first one here we're going to do. My date showed up 30 minutes late without a reason or apology, so I said this isn't going to work out and turned around and left. Am I the jerk? This is a book. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, I matched with this girl on Hinge, and after what felt like pulling teeth, finally planned the first date. I showed up on time and text her, I'm here. She immediately replied saying she was going to be 12 minutes late without an apology or excuse. Half an hour later, she finally showed up, and I say, you're 30 minutes late. I don't think this is going to work. And I turned around and left. She texted me saying, dang, sorry, I had trouble finding parking. Glad we found out earlier that we don't mesh well. Did I do the right thing? I truly believe we have to value our time and ourselves, and by staying, it basically enables people to disrespect you. Wow, okay. Well, now I'm not about to talk the thing he's about. He'd go back and tell you, I feel like people are attacking my character. 30 minutes late. First she said she's gonna be 12 minutes late. Okay, depending on what city you're in. It could be in a big city.
True.
It could be like downtown Kansas City is not the best place to park in. You might find yourself circling for a moment, or you park farther away and then like walk yourself over. So you could find yourself in a situation where if you're running late, she's just running 12 minutes late. I can believe they can take 15 minutes to find parking, the right parking, and then finally get to the building and she had to walk herself over there depending on where she was parked at. Now I understand you want somebody to be on time the first date. Like 30 minutes late is healthy, but she did give the heads up she's gonna be at least 12 minutes late, and maybe she should have given a little thing about that I'm being another 15. She could have said, or 17 minutes really. She could have said sorry. I didn't mean to be. I'm not usually like this. I'm gonna get a heads up, but.
Or hey, I'm trying to find parking.
Yeah, she could have gave the heads up, but be like immediately when she walked in, like, all right, I'm out. You could have told her on her way there, like, hey, I appreciate time. I'm busy. I know you'll be late. Do you want to reschedule now? I think to add to this, he said it felt like pulling teeth to get her on this first date.
Mistake one.
Yes, she wasn't interested. Really, she probably had some interest, but she wasn't really interested in you to order okay, if it's pulling teeth to get on the first date, that person's not really that interested in you. What do you think?
I completely agree. Like if you are having trouble even getting to the first date spot, then I'd probably not put all your eggs in that basket.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the 30-minute thing, I personally have gone on an online date and the person was 30 minutes late and he showed up 30 minutes late, and I wish I would have done what this guy did. So I feel bad for saying that, but like we just did that vibe and I was just like 30 minutes is crazy, because at first it was like 5 minutes, then it was 10 minutes, and he's like, okay, well I'm gonna be like 15 minutes more. I'm like, okay, at this point, it's been like half an hour. I don't know why I'm still here. Like, I'm an idiot for kind of just waiting around. So right. I don't think this guy is an idiot. I think this guy is valuing his time. And because obviously, like, he's looking for something that she is maybe not ready for, maybe not as interested in, and I think that he would probably do best looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him a jerk in this situation. I think just leaving early, he could have probably just like, you know what, I had enough to do with my schedule for you. I probably will finish the date out, but be like, hey, I'm not gonna finish this date. I'll probably won't see you again, but hey, thank you. But then again, I guess he's paying money, so it's the first date and he's a gentleman in the sense he's going to pay for the day, so I can see he can spend money on it. So I guess he's like, I'm not going to spend my money either, but you're already at the spot for 30 minutes. Might as well just like, hey, I'm going to hang out for another 45 minutes and leave. Like,
you think he is a jerk?
No, I don't think he's a jerk for this one, but I think he could have definitely like said just me, wait she got there and like, oh, I'm out. Like, you're already here, like, might as well just finish off and keep going.
They both could have had better communication, for sure.
Yes. All right. Am I the jerk for what I said to a girl about not wanting to date a girl with OnlyFans? Oh, god dang, another book. I should really open these before. All right, so short context.
Here we go.
There's a bunch of girls in my extended friend group who do OnlyFans, some more successful than others, of course, but it's the main job for all of them. Okay, so I stayed up last night hanging out with my friends online, through most of us know each other in real life too, though most of us know each other in real life too. And as it got later, more and more people bailed until it was just me and this one girl still talking. We were both playing different games and chatting pretty aimlessly for a while until she said she actually wanted to talk, and then asked if I dated a girl with an OnlyFans. Now, I'm not exactly dumb. I knew that she was either testing the waters for herself or a friend of hers, but it didn't stop me from answering honestly. I said that no, I'm not really interested in getting involved romantically with a girl who does OnlyFans. When she asked me why, I said that I don't see sexuality as something to sell online or otherwise. Then she asked if I would date a girl who had done OnlyFans but had stopped. I thought about it, but I still responded that no, I wasn't interested in someone who had done it, that once that choice had been made, it couldn't be undone even if you stopped. She said that that was kind of unfair and that I wouldn't date someone because of a choice they made in the past, to which I agreed, but pointed out almost any reason is a valid one to not date someone, because no one owes you a relationship. Using myself as an example, if someone didn't want to date me because I chose to drop out of college and get a job, yeah, it would suck, but it's still a valid choice on their part. Then she asked me why it would matter if it's in the past, and I said, as unfortunate as it is the past, is a part of who we are, and we have to deal with the consequences of the choices we made, even when it hurts. We went back and forth on this for a while. Yeah, man, keep arguing. And then she said the thing that triggered this. She asked me that if my only option were girls that had done or were doing OnlyFans, would I be okay with it? I was kind of caught off guard, but I eventually said that I would choose to be alone. She said a couple of things about not believing I would choose that, and then called me a sexist a-hole and left. Thinking about it, I'm not really sure how I could be a jerk. I didn't raise my voice, didn't talk down or disparage her or her friend's choices, at least not intentionally, and I wasn't intentionally blunt or insensitive. I also don't see how I could have lied or sugarcoated without being a massive jerk later. Still, I would like at least to try to self-analyze when a friend calls me a jerk, and it doesn't happen often, but in this instance, it's not working very well. So am I a jerk in the situation? What do you think?
I don't think he's a jerk for setting boundaries for himself. Unfortunately, it didn't align with the girl that, was potentially interested in him, or the friend that she was speaking on behalf of. And, you're not going to be able to please everyone. I think it kind of rubbed her the wrong way that he wasn't willing to let that go. But I think that he was well within his right. And I think the use of the example of dropping out of college, that was a great one. Just because it's OnlyFans, or it can be replaced with any type of scenario like that. So we all need to set boundaries for ourselves, and if you don't like something, you don't have to change something because somebody wants you to.
Right.
Good for him, honestly.
Right.
I think.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that. That was a good example with the whole college dropout, because people are like, oh, I want to date somebody who's a college dropout. Right. But he's like, well, I don't want to date somebody who does OnlyFans and sells OnlyFans online. He's like, it could be online. You guys make a good living off it, but I don't feel comfortable dating somebody who has that kind of past. Good for you, man. Cool. And then she was like, well, would you date somebody who or you had a choice between being alone or only dating girls who had OnlyFans? What would you choose? He's like, sorry, I value somebody who doesn't do online work that way. That's not the kind of lifestyle I want to entangle myself into. It's their past. I don't want that past, involving my future, I guess. Yeah. So that's completely fair, and I don't think he is a jerk for having those values and having that preference, and that's up to him. Now, I think the right lady came along, he wouldn't care, to be honest.
I don't know.
Especially if it came down to he had lived in this hypothetical world where it's just him and all the women out there he talked to had OnlyFans, and he's like, well, I feel like the right person coming on, he'll look past that, but because that person, OnlyFans might not be a judge of character. It's not a judge of that person's character, It's not saying that person's a bad person because they did OnlyFans. I understand he wants somebody who doesn't have a promiscuous past like that. But I definitely think if the circumstances was right, he would talk to somebody. But is he a jerk for having that preference? Not at all. Yeah. Now, the way he kind of delivered it, where was it at? Well, I was kind of chuckling. It made me feel, Agrees pointed out, example, she asked, why would it matter if it's the past? And I said, unfortunately, as the past is part of who we are, and we have to deal with the consequences of the choices we made, even when it hurts. That part, you didn't have to say that. You had to deal with the consequences of the choices you made.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't have to say that, but it also gives you a little bit more context of where he's at, though, because if you think about it, let's use a different example. Let's say someone you're talking to, you find out they have a criminal background and they have been in jail or something like that, and you're like, look, just for me and what I want, I think that our values or things that we're looking for, although they may be the same, you don't check at least some of the boxes that I feel like I have boundaries for myself. Like,
yes,
very much so. The consequences of your actions, they may be different, you know. Maybe the consequences is you went to jail. Maybe the consequence is that 5 years from now or 10 years from now, if you have children, your children can come across as OnlyFans. Maybe this person doesn't want that. And like, that's a boundary that they have, and that has to be okay.
Yeah.
Because we all have things that we are willing and not willing to accept. And unfortunately, he is not willing to accept something that this individual, this girl, is or has done, and that is just that. It's just not going to be a match for them.
Yep. So is he a jerk?
I don't think he's.
I don't think so either. I just think the way he could deliver. I'm glad he put the wording in there in the conversation. He could deliver it a little more smoother versus just like.
He did apologize for being a little blunt.
Huh?
He did apologize for.
Was he apologizing there?
I think so.
He's like, I wasn't intentionally blunt or insensitive. So he's like, I didn't. He also don't see how I could have lied or sugarcoated without being a massive jerk later. Yeah. He was being upfront, but he could have just left it as like, no, to me, it just doesn't. It won't work for me. But not every guy would be like that. Like, I'm sorry, it's not the one for me.
She kind of antagonized him a little bit, though. She kind of, I was like, well, why?
Yeah.
I mean, if you are going to ask a question that you maybe don't want an answer to,
don't ask the question.
Don't ask the question. But you have to be accepting of whatever answer you get if you do pose that question.
And I think when he said, like, hey, you know, I don't want to date somebody who has that kind of past, it's just not the kind of lifestyle that I want to involve with, and that's the past. But even though they stop, that's still their past. Like you said, like, it can future-wise can involve kids stuff like that. Like, I don't really want that for my significant other. And he could left it there like that's it. I'm just gonna move on. Versus like he's like, I went back and forth. If he would have called himself and stopped it and cut it off, I don't think he would have got that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely, she did ask the question. She did poke the bear. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But I don't think he's a jerk for this.
I don't think so either.
All right.
He set boundaries for himself, and that just has to be okay.
Last one here. Am I the jerk to thinking it's inappropriate for my mom to date someone 2 years older than me? All right, here we go. For some context, my mom, so she's a 16-year-old female. Mom is a 38-year-old female. Had me when she was in her early 20s. Okay, we don't need to know how that happened. My mom and dad divorced when I was 6. Okay, and she hasn't dated many men. The very few men that she has dated have been extremely older than her, which both her and I thought was kind of weird, but we shrugged it off. What? As I got older, she began to tease me that she would date someone around my age. Which made me extremely uncomfortable because, for one, I don't want have to compete with my mom, thank you, in the dating game. And secondly, you're 16. And secondly, I think that it would be extremely inappropriate if she were dating someone that was much younger than her. I expressed this to her and she said I was being insecure. Flash forward to about a week ago, my mom said that she went to a breakfast place and a 22-year-old guy asked her for her Instagram handle. I said to her, "You said no, right?" And she laughed and said she gave it to him. But she wasn't going to date him or anything. I thought that was fine, but then she proceeded to say, but even if I did, it's not weird. Then we began to bicker about whether or not it was weird to date someone who was only 6 years older than me, which we both eventually ended up just shrugging it off. I haven't really thought about it much since we talked about it, but earlier today she texted me and said verbatim, for your information, if I dated someone from your high school who is 18, that wouldn't be weird. I just lost it. Not only would it be I'll get relentlessly bullied, but it would make me extremely uncomfortable because my own boyfriend is only a year younger than that. Someone almost the exact age of my boyfriend dating, having sex with, okay, and being intimate with my mother is just not appropriate in my opinion. I want her to be in a happy relationship, but the idea of my mom having any relationship with someone my age makes me sick. I told her all of these things, and now My mom is mad at me saying that I am forbidding her from having a dating life and giving her a hard time. Am I the jerk? Want me to go first? You go first.
I want you to go first. I need a minute to process that.
Okay, one, your mom is divorced. She's lonely. She's looking for somebody to have fun with. I think she's okay to date and have fun with somebody. Now, she's 30 years old. Dipping to 18 years old, it's creepy. She should not go that far. Like 21, what can you do with 18? You playtime? Where you going to teeny bopper club? Where are you going with an 18-year-old? To the park? To like the 22-year-old was fine. Like, okay, you want to go have fun with the 22-year-old. Go like live your life. Go, as the daughter, understand you want your mom to be happy, but at the same time, what your mom does, and she's talking about in high school, that's okay. You need to, hey mom, can you not do that? Like, you shouldn't talk to somebody in high school. 21, mom, go lower. 21 is only as far as you can go. Don't go lower than that. Like, as a mother, like, if she want to have fun, go have fun. And that 22-year-old who's like, hey, I get to hook up with a cougar, good for him. But for her to like say, well, if I date somebody from your high school, that's not cool. The mom shouldn't play around like that with her daughter, because her daughter obviously, for some reason, worried about her mom talking to somebody like it affects her. And maybe it does, but your mom happiness, like, she's divorced. Let her go have fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have a back and forth in this one.
I think everyone is allowed to love and be interested in whoever they choose. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's weird? Absolutely. Do I think that it's healthy? Probably not.
No.
I think the mom is probably going through something. I think being a younger parent, though, is a little bit, definitely plays a role in this. Maybe my guess is that she feels like maybe she missed out on having those experiences being a young parent. I am not a parent at all, so I cannot speak to that. But I feel like third party view here, that's kind of, I guess, what I would insinuate.
It makes sense. Like, you do miss, like, when you have a kid, your whole life becomes your kid. If you're a good parent, your whole life becomes your kid. Like, we have friends now who are like, I can't go out because my kid, I take care of my kid, and I don't have somebody babysit my kids, so I'll be here for my kid. Hey, you want to plan something a month later? I can't. I have a kid. All right, you want to bring your kid along? I don't want to bring my kid along. Like, I have friends who have kids who don't do things because they want to be considered good parents. So if she was doing the same thing and then go through a divorce, she got a lot more. She's a single parent now, and she has a lot more stuff. So she's like, hey, I'll make sure my kid's taken care of. So yeah, no, you do lose out on 18 years of your life. And
to like be at that age as a mother and try and date again, in even generally in your age range, and say, I have a teenage daughter or I have a teenage son, that might be challenging to like walk into and say, this is what I come with if we go into a relationship. Mm-hmm. I think that going into this relationship with somebody who is significantly younger, she maybe need, something to get her feeling like she's back in the game, to feel like she still has it. And by all means, that's totally fine. As long as it's legal, you do you. Because 18, you are pushing some boundaries. You are walking on a very thin line. Very weird. But I feel like you should be able to do, within reason, as long as it's legal, whatever that you like. It would be uncomfortable for me if I was a daughter and of that person and thinking my mom is dating somebody who is my age. I don't think that it would be serious, especially someone who was 18 trying to, put in serious work for a relationship like that. I look back when I was 18, although I was chasing like probably someone who was older than me. I was not looking to like be married or like be a stepfather, in any capacity.
100%. Like, that dude, that 22-year-old who talked to her, he's not thinking about the 16-year-old. He's thinking like, I'm about to hook up with a 38-year-old. Holy crap. And she's a MILF? Oh, bruh. Like, he's going to go tell his friends, like, yo, let me tell you about the experience that I had. Like, because 22, it's more about the chase versus the actual relationships. Like, you think, like, yo, and because I've been around guys who like, oh, dude, I hooked up with a MILF. You wouldn't believe it. Like, oh my gosh. And people like, really? Other guys like, really? Yeah. Like, and dude get around talking to like, yeah, I hooked up with the girl. Oh my, really? How was that? And this is how long the conversation go. It was wild. Really, what you do? I'll just tell you, it was wild. There's no detail. It was wild. Everybody's like, okay, cool. Wow. That's all right, cool. Like, really? Yeah, I'll tell you, man. It was crazy. That's as far as the conversation goes with a guy. But he's going to, like, he's a 22-year-old. He's going to brag to his friends about how he's hooking up with a 38-year-old. That if she entertained that kind of guy. And she understands, like, this is fun time. This dude's not looking for something serious. This is playtime for her. And you're right with that. I agree with you. As for the daughter, because she's like, I don't want to compete for my mom's attention with, somebody who's around my age. But if your mom get in a relationship with somebody who's older than you, which you said y'all thought was weird, get in a relationship with somebody who's much older than her, not you, but older than her, you have to also, compete with your mom's attention too. Like, let your mom live her life. In a sense, she's divorced, looking for somebody to fill a void, and maybe she's not ready to, like, find, like you're saying, that person's like, hey, I'm looking for a serious relationship. I have a 16-year-old, and I want somebody serious. Well, okay, we want to, like, work with, like, look maybe to a second marriage, and also have a daughter. I'm looking for somebody to help, like, not help, but, like, grow with. Her pool is what, 40s to be serious, like a 40s, and I don't know how many dudes in their 40s are single, and maybe there's a lot of guys in their 40s are single and thriving, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Have you seen 50 Shades of Grey?
I have not seen 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, well, in it, like the main character or whatever, they like tell you later in the story that like one of his mom's friends is responsible for the way that he is. She got a hold of him at a young age and kind of just like shaped the way that he now is. Not
breeding, it's grooming. Grooming. Yes.
Grooming. So I feel like it can definitely, with that much of an age gap, be like interpreted as grooming, which is just like very wrong in my opinion. I don't know if it's illegal, but I feel like it should be.
Not if you're adult. Like, not if you're adult, it's not illegal. So, like, 22, 21.
I don't think that's her intention.
Yes.
Based off what I read, I don't know or believe that is her intention. I just feel like that may be, like, what ultimately ends up coming from it, just because of the dynamic and the age difference. I can definitely see where the daughter would feel uncomfortable, especially if she is dating someone who is very close in age to the mom's boyfriend's age. I would feel uneasy about it too, because you guys have much more in common. The three of you, like the daughter, the boyfriend, and the mom's boyfriend, versus the mom and her 18-year-old boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I think 18, I think the mom was dipping way too low at 18. Like 21, 22.
Yeah, still way too low.
It's still low, but at least she can go out and like.
We can't even legally drink.
Huh?
He cannot even.
Yeah, I'm not saying like 18 can legally drink, but 21, 22, like at least they can go to bars and legally drink and stuff like that. Like go do stuff.
Separate away from.
Yes. Like 18, I think she was doing a mess with her daughter. Her daughter's so entrenched into her mom's love life. The mom was like, what if I date somebody who was 18?
I feel like it's definitely like there's some combativeness and some challenge between the two of them. I don't know if she's necessarily doing it like out of spite, but I don't, and maybe it goes back to like having like that child at a young age and just feeling like, well, like, you can't tell me what to do. Like, I'm your mom. Like, I can do whatever I want to. So if somebody like that wants me, like, why wouldn't I take them?
And,
like,
Plus, think about this. She's 38 years old. She's not getting hit on. So younger dudes are hitting on her. She's like, oh, okay, I still got it. I still got this game. Even though I'm divorced with a 16-year-old daughter, I still look good out here where dudes want to come talk to me. Like, that's a boost for the mom.
Yeah,
Let your mom feel sexy, thriving, and 30. Like, especially when everybody's like, oh, 35, 30, like 30 up, you're just, like, women fall off the wagon. Like, no, not at all. Like,
we're like a fine wine. We get better with age.
So, like, I think, do you think the daughter is a jerk for stopping her mom from, because the daughter's coming from a place of not, like, I think the daughter's coming from a place for insecurity, because her daughter was secure about her dating younger, but not, like, dating somebody, because, like, she even says earlier up here, where is it, as I got older, she began to tease me and said she would date someone. No, not that one part. The very few men that she had dated have all been extremely older than her, which both her and I thought was kind of weird, but we shrugged it off.
Like, what's significantly older? Like 38, like 70, 60?
60, 50, well.
But okay, if that is the case, I'm going to throw this out there just because it's a very common theme. But women who date older men, typically, people assume that they are with them for their money, their status, what they can provide. But that very potentially could be the opposite when the 18-year-old is hoping to get the same thing from the adult, 38-year-old mother. Like,
right.
She can provide for me in a maternal way because she is a mother. She's financially stable, has a car, has a house, has all these things. And I get all of them by being associated with you. So hopefully that she's not like being like used in that aspect, because that would suck. But I mean, I honestly can't really think of like too much in common that an 18-year-old would like want from a 38-year-old.
Nothing but sex.
That's what my thought was.
And then she talked about having sex. I'm like, okay, well, you told us you're 16-year-old having sex with your boyfriend. Like, like you let us know your whole young relationship. I didn't know that. But yeah, like her mom is dating 38 and dating people who are 50s and 60s, then like do a complete flip to 20s, and this mom needs to slow down.
Yeah, the mom is going through something, I think, in like my opinion. She's like having a crisis of some sort. And if I was divorced at that age, I also like may have a crisis. Who knows?
Yeah. Gosh, like being divorced, like yes, you're divorced at 38, you still have a big
long life ahead of you.
Yeah, and a big pick of you're like in the middle spot where your pool is literally like she's dating up or she's dating down, like she's
right.
Like she's not like 60 and trying to like, not saying the 60-year-olds out there, but like she's not 60 trying to date, down in the 20s. Like that's if a 20-year-old date a 60-year-old, be like, that's a 40-year-old difference. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like what's in it for you? But I think she's having fun. Like you said, she's going through something and just having a fun time and just want to find somebody to fill like a little bit of a void, but not really like a long-term commitment, because going to divorce, all that, like that's a lot.
That is a lot. It's not easy.
Yeah.
To walk away from that,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that the daughter is a jerk. I think that she's coming from a place of love and concern and honestly just like general creepiness.
Right.
Like if I was in the daughter situation, I would feel the exact same way and probably have the exact same reaction. And be like, I don't want my parent to date someone who is very similar in my age. It's uncomfortable, although I may not have a say as, the child. You can do whatever you want to. You're an adult. Would I like it? No. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think it's creepy? Yeah.
I'm just thinking if my mom dated somebody who's around my age, I'll probably like, go have fun, mom. Like,
if my dad dated someone around my age, I would be like, I hate her.
I hate her.
I hate her.
But yeah, that's it for our episode of Nerdy Dating. Maggie, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for joining us this episode.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And guys, you want to ask us a question, you can send it to alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. It's alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Nerdy Dating, and keep being awesome.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Nerdy Dating. I really appreciate it. If there's another episode you want to watch, you can look at it right there. If you want to subscribe to the page and watch more content, it's down here. Also, you have a question about dating, you want to put it in the comment section, go ahead and do it. Or you can send me your dating question to my email of alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. That's alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. And I will answer your question on the next episode of Nerdy Dating. Thank you so much for watching the show. I appreciate you, and keep being awesome.